Yes.
Yeah?
Let's, if you don't mind.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I can warm it up a little
Yeah,
bit.
that's it, one minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
No. I'll show you who that is.
Gabrielle from my checks.
Can't have the keyboard.
Okay, yeah, that works.
Yeah. That's good. That's what it's good.
You let it on the web now? Yeah. Okay, great, thanks. How are we doing on time? We're good?
Good.
Everybody's good?
Yep, we're good.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Paul Pacheco. I'm a detective with the Coventry Police Department. Today, we're here to provide information regarding the identification of skeletal remains that were recovered April 29th, 2023. We're also here to ask for your help. The assistance of our media partners and our community members may prove to be helpful as our investigation moves forward. The remains were initially discovered by two citizens walking in a wooded area in Coventry, Ave and Eisenhower Street. Law enforcement was notified immediately, and detectives responded out to that area and began investigating. The remains were then turned over to the state medical examiner's office, where additional follow-up was conducted. Since that time, the Coventry Police have worked tirelessly to identify the remains and bring closure to the family of their missing loved one. Additional searches were conducted in that area as recently. As a result of our hard work and the assistance of multiple experts, today we're able to announce who the recovered remains belong to. The remains are those of Heather Boivay. In 2017, Heather, who was a 26-year-old female at the time, was reported missing by her family to the Providence Police Department. We recognize the tremendous emotional weight that this discovery and identification carries for Heather's family. For over 7 years now, parents and the results of the medical findings, Heather's death is being treated and investigated as suspicious. We have enlisted the assistance the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the Attorney General's Office, as well as the Rhode Island State Police. Our detectives remain disciplined and professional as they methodically work all angles of this case. Our department will continue to work hard to provide answers for Heather's family. Prior to going missing, our understanding is that Heather frequented the following communities: the city of Providence, the city of Cranston, and the town of Coventry. Heather was last seen by her family sometime on or around August 1st of 2017. Today we're calling on the community for assistance in learning more about Heather. We're confident that there are people out there that have information related to who Heather was, her whereabouts prior to her going missing, and her interaction with others. Come forward. Sometimes people have information regardless of how insignificant you believe that your information might be. Please contact us and let us make those determinations. Additionally, people may be hesitant to share information out of. No matter the circumstances, it is not too late to come forward and help give Heather's family and friends the answers they deserve. Tips can be shared anonymously by calling the number on the screen, 401-822-9193, or by emailing our tips line, which we have posted up. I will now take questions from the media, but please understand that my answers are likely to be limited as I want to protect the integrity of our investigation.
Detective?
Yes, sir.
Do you have reason to believe that she was killed somewhere else and brought there, or she was killed there?
At this point, it's still part of our ongoing investigation. Right now, we're treating it as a suspicious death. We haven't arrived yet at the conclusion of it was a homicide. But that is one of the angles that we're looking to try to find out, if it was done in Coventry or if just her body was dumped in Coventry.
Is it possible, can you reveal the method of how she was then deceased? Was it possible that someone could have perceived this as an accident and then just disposed?
Well, that's going to be one of the portions that we look to close during the investigation.
Detective, is it clear how long her remains had been there? I know there had been some reports that maybe she had been spotted since she had gone missing. Did it seem like her death occurred around the time that she was reported missing?
We feel very confident that late in 2017 is when this occurred, and we believe, based on the investigation that we have so far, that those remains had been there for 5 years until they were discovered. And so originally they were discovered in 2023. And so we're thinking.
Why do you think it took 5 years then for the remains to be discovered?
I think because of the remote location on where they were located. And sometimes when you're trying to hide something, you don't make it very easy for people to find.
Was there an indication that the remains had been hidden somehow?
Because of the length of time, there was indication that the remains had been likely moved by wildlife, not necessarily in a hidden spot.
We know that officers were back at the scene in December again of last year. Can you talk about what that search was for?
That search was with the FBI. We're not missing anything.
Was anything additional found during those searches like last year?
At this point, I can't reveal what was found on that day.
Had you been back there before, between the time she had been discovered in 2017 until December?
Yes, sir, and then that's what led to us reaching out to the FBI and asking for that additional help.
How many times had you been back?
I believe it was twice prior to them coming out.
Prior to December when they searched twice?
Correct.
And again, you said she was identified through DNA?
DNA and dental records.
Okay, so dental records, I assume, came back pretty quickly.
Not as quickly as we would have liked.
When was she officially identified then? I know you made the discovery in 2023, but when was she officially identified?
She was officially identified sometime prior to us going back out in December of last year for those last final searches.
Why wait then in releasing her name and telling the public what you learned?
Families can be complex, and we did not want anyone in close relation to her to have to learn about this through television.
What can you tell us about her life prior to her disappearance? Where was she living or working or?
So I can actually personally say that when I first started working for this police department, she was actually somebody that I had contacts with. Her life was fairly normal. As she got older, we have reason to believe that she would frequent the city of Providence and the city of Cranston in addition to here in Coventry as well. Other than that, there's nothing really that stands out in regards to her or her lifestyle.
And just to be clear, when you say you had contacts with her, was she accused at all of like criminal conduct or anything like that?
The contacts that I have were never in the sense of her being a criminal.
Okay.
Detective, could you just go over the timeline one more time of when she disappeared and then the investigation?
To the best of our knowledge, we believe that she disappeared in late of 2017. She was then found by two people walking in the woods in 2023. I'll get you the exact, April 29th of 2023, so we're talking the beginning. I would say the amount of time that those remains potentially were out there was for just shy of 5 years.
I'm sorry, you don't have her date of birth up there, but in late 2017, how old would she have been?
26.
26 at that time when she went missing.
Yes, sir.
Maybe speak with anyone that knew her when, before she disappeared, living in the city of Providence?
I would say anyone at all that has any information, regardless of how insignificant they feel it may be, would help us just kind of identify everything that was happening in her life leading up to that point to when she disappeared.
Was she employed at that time?
To the best of our knowledge, she was not.
Was she living alone at that time?
We do not believe so.
Do you have any persons of interest in this case?
I would say our detectives are trying to take this case, so in a homicide case or a suspicious death case, we have challenges even when there is no time delay. With something like this where there is such a time delay, our detectives really have to take a step back and keep an open mind and keep every possible option open until for sure we can close out and rule people and places out of play. At this point in time, I would say it's too early for us to say that we've developed any person of interest. I would say it's even too early for us to firmly come out here and say we believe that the suspicious, although the death suspicious, that it was definitely homicide.
Are we to assume she wasn't, oh, well, let me ask you this. Did she have family, close family in Coventry that she was in touch with or was living with?
I don't want to get too much into the family, but she does have close family, and that family was the family that reported her missing initially in 2017.
I'm just curious, who were some of the individuals out there, Detective, that you would be very interested to talk to? Would it be, would you like to contact the police?
I would say in that time frame specifically, I would go to that 2017 time frame, but all the information we'd be happy to talk to people about and just gather whatever information they're willing to provide. Happy to talk to people about and just gather whatever information they're willing to provide us.
Did she grow up in Montreal?
She did.
Do you know what her last was?
I do not have the last name.
At that time, a lot of people didn't have Ring, video, but is there some form of surveillance that people might actually be in possession of and they're not even aware of?
There's definitely gonna be avenues that we approach, and I think that the start of that happens with understanding who the person is, understanding the location where he frequented, and then whether or not there was any connection to that person.
Recently, Coventry, you had the high-profile homicide of the woman in the pond. Now, that was 2 individuals. Any reason, detective, to believe that it could have been more than one person? The detective here in Coventry, we're going to send it back to JR in the studio, and then we're going to recap everything. But again, you've been listening to a live press conference. You've been listening to a live press conference here at the Coventry Police Department. We're going to send it right back to JR in the studio.
See the slide?